Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In the Yard Podcast with your host, Collin and Braeden Cox. As we record here on December 7th, both of our teams, the Bengals and the Packers, are coming off of big wins. We can start with the Packers, 4-game winning streak, big wins against the Lions and the Chiefs. Both, the Thanksgiving game was the Thursday, and then Sunday night against the Chiefs, right? Wasn't it Sunday night?
Yes,
so
sir.
big wins for Braeden there and the Packers. Jordan Love's looking really hot. Then you got my Bengals, Joe Burrow goes down. Everyone thinks the season's over. Everyone's saying tank. Get a better draft pick. The Jake Browning's first start against the Steelers looks horrible. Looks like the Bengals, almost said the Yankees. Looks like the Bengals are doomed. Next thing you know, comes back on Monday Night Football against the Jaguars, one of the best, offensive powers in the game. And Jake Browning gets the job done, wins AFC Offensive Player of the Week. And I think actually, Braeden, I think the best quarterback ratings from this past week were Browning, Love, and Tua. So that's kind of cool to see that two of our guys were on there as best passer rating. So let's get into it here. I'm sure Braden's super excited. 4-game win streak for your Packers. So tell me how you're feeling.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good looking at the rest of our schedule, right? So we're sitting at 6-6. So, 500, that's about where I expected them at the beginning of the season. Go back to our predictions. I had the Packers coming in as the 7th seed. I got a couple laughs from that. Their last 5 games at the Giants, hosting Tampa Bay, at Carolina, at Minnesota, and hosting the Bears. They could win. They could win out. I'm not going to say they're going to win out, but those are all winnable games right now.
It's doable, yeah.
You got Tommy Cutlets, you got Baker in Tampa, you got Bryce Young and the terrible Panthers, Josh Dobbs in Minnesota, and Justin Fields.
Yeah, I think it's looking good. They're going to see. I think they have a good shot sneaking in.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna get my hopes up. I'm gonna be at the Giants game on Monday night, but I'm very excited to see how Love is playing. But I'm also realistic in the sense that he looked good those first few weeks of the season. I guess particularly he looked good against the Bears. And he even looked good against Atlanta and New Orleans, who they did lose to Atlanta, but they lost by a point. He looked good in the game. It was the defense that pretty much let him down. But he's still young. It's his first full time starting, so it's kind of you don't want to be this is the guy, right? You don't want to be like that because they won 4 or 5. But those four wins are the Rams, the Chargers, the Lions, and the Chiefs, which none of them are really bad opponents, right?
No,
you know what I mean? They're all none of them are really. Obviously Detroit and Kansas City are good teams. Both the Chargers and the Rams probably should be better, but they're not like New England and Carolina. The teams that the NFC East seems to beat up on. The Packers kind of got that more so easy schedule toward the end of the season. So I'm very excited.
Yeah. So we got the doubleheader Monday night. I think it's Packers, Giants, and then we got the Dolphins and Titans. So it's gonna be a fun Monday night. Hope Braeden has a good time in MetLife Stadium, in the Meadowlands. So I think he's looking forward to it. So from my side of things, the Bengals, Jake Browning gets the job done on Monday night, and now it literally went from season's over to we're back, as you see all the memes on social media. But I just feel like that it's a big momentum changer for the Bengals, and I think if they can get the job on Sunday, they have confidence in themselves. They think, obviously Joe Burrow's their guy, but they know they could win without him, as they showed on Monday night. And I just think that win is huge. It's just a huge momentum change for the Bengals. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season now. I must say I was almost in the, tank and the tank side of fans. But I watched. I'm still going to root for them to win, especially now. I think they have a good shot. I think they have. So I think they have the Titans.
Yeah, I got it right
Or
here.
no, they
So
have the Colts.
They host the Colts. They host Minnesota. Then they go to Pittsburgh. They go to Kansas City, and then they host Cleveland at the end of the year. So you got 3 home games.
Yeah.
To me, like, you can beat the Steelers, right? I know you just lost to them, but they don't have Kenny Pickett now. They kind of got Mitch Trubisky, who's pretty much very blah. The Colts are a playoff team as of right now, but we're talking Gardner Minshew, who's been decent for the Colts. Their defense has really been the thing that stood up. But it's hard for me to pick against Cincinnati this week after beating the Jaguars, even if Trevor Lawrence got hurt, right? Yeah. He got hurt in the fourth quarter?
Like that was second to last drive, yeah.
He was going toe-to-toe with him for at least 40, 45 minutes of the game.
Right.
Like, game time, you know what I mean? It wasn't like he got hurt at the very end, you know what I mean? Like, he was going toe-to-toe with them. And I don't remember what his final stats were, but he had, like he basically completed every pass he threw, which is insane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they can beat the Colts. Minnesota with Josh Dobbs. Pittsburgh with Mitchell Trubisky. Kansas City, tough on New Year's Eve. Cleveland, yeah. I mean, like, it looks good for both our teams, but it's also, like, it could also go horribly wrong. You know what I mean? You don't know.
Yeah.
You know
it could be false. Could be completely false.
Both our teams could go and potentially win out. Exactly.
Yeah.
Both teams could potentially win out or, like, completely implode on themselves. I don't think either team will win out. I could see, 3-2, 4-1 from both these teams, definitely. But, I think the big question with the Bengals is going to be Jake Browning, because literally the week prior, they only lost by a score, but he didn't play well.
Right.
Right?
No, I mean,
so we don't really know what we're going to get.
Yeah, because, I don't know. I know a lot of people were saying that Jake Browning was awful. But, it was his first NFL start ever against probably one of the best defenses in the past 5 years or so. That's literally what keeps him and wins them the games. So, yeah, he didn't look great. But I didn't think he looked terrible because, aside from a couple of bad decisions, holding the ball a little too long, and then that one interception where they were driving to third down, I think it was like 3rd and 4, so he was going to Jamar the whole way. I think the cornerback for the Steelers just read it and got the pick, and that was kind of it from there. But aside from that pick, I think they had a good shot of winning. They were driving that series, but I still had hope. And then Monday came around, and Jake Browning shows what he's capable of. I'm not saying he's going to be able to play like that every single game. I know the Jaguars' defense isn't the best, but yeah, just it gives you some hope and gives me something to look forward to for the rest of the season now.
Yeah, and I hate to be the guy that brings in like crazy hypotheticals, but you kind of know my Browning theory if he keeps this up. I'll go over it real quick. Where at this point, is it fair to say that Joe Burrow is injury prone, right? Because again, the torn ACL his rookie year.
I disagree with that.
I don't really like put that against him because his line was so bad, like. So bad that it was like.
What do you got? The torn ACL isn't like a injury prone. Like, it just happens.
No, it just happens. But it wasn't really the reason I don't really like nick him for it is because, like, his line was so terrible that the fact he made it through like 11 weeks or whatever it was, and then it happened is like insane. But then the next year they went to the Super Bowl.
He played.
Right?
I just can't call him injury prone if he played 2 full seasons. Like, I know he was battling injuries. But he played 2 full seasons, pretty much every single game.
Pretty much.
No, like, he played, like, every single game the past 2 seasons before, besides the ACL injury, and besides this year, he's played every single game.
Yeah, I mean...
He didn't miss any games.
Fair. No, I guess that's fair. Maybe it's not fair to say he's injury prone, but I guess walking into the season with the calf injury, and now with the...
That's fair. I'm just saying, he's never really missed any games besides the ACL tear, which, I said before.
That's fair.
But new topic.
Yeah.
So keep going with your Browning theory so everyone could hear it.
Yeah, so basically, if this were to be a recurring issue with a Joe Burrow, right? And this is obviously a huge hypothetical. If Burrow were to get hurt next year, hypothetically, we'll say, right? and Browning continues to play well, like, let's say they win out. Like, I'm not going to say it's going to happen. Even if they go 4-1, they make the playoffs. Maybe they get a Jacksonville again. Maybe they get a Baltimore, which is a divisional game. They could win. Maybe they could win that game. You know what I mean? It's still a talented team. I think if you can get decently far with this Bengals team and Joe Burrow, you know, if there's more injuries going forward, he's got a massive contract, and look at what the 49ers are doing with Purdy. He's getting paid nothing. And that might kind of be the way to do it, right? Is kind of load up some guy. Load up an offense with like a McCaffrey, a Kittle, a Debo, right? And then just put a guy in there who can throw the ball, you know, 9 times out of 10 on target.
No.
Sure, he can do it, but you're paying him how much money to do it.
The team runs through Joe Burrow, dude. Like,
you're right,
Browning,
but Browning just went out there and did something only like 2 other teams have done this year and beat the Jaguars.
But like, I think the offensive line had the best PFF grade they've had all season.
Probably,
and
you're right.
And the Zach Taylor was calling plays to get Jamar Chase the ball, which they don't do for some reason, oftentimes. But they knew they had no other choice but to look for Jamar and then look for T as a second option. And then they also established a run game, which they don't really typically do. They get a little impatient with that as well. So I just think a combination, like, we just can't overreact to the fact that, you know, better line play and better play calling.
And again, this is all fun and games. I'm just talking to talk at this point, right?
Okay, Stephen.
There you go, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's completely unfeasible to say, like, if the 49ers were to win the Super Bowl this year with Purdy making less than $1 million a year, and you got dudes like Mahomes and Burrow getting paid $50 million a year to do it, right? Could that money be better utilized? Obviously, you're keeping Burrow. You're ridiculous. But I'm just saying, right? If Seattle made an offer, Seattle is like a QB away. They remind me of what like Tampa was before Tom got there, where it was like, this is a really good team that's just missing like the guy. Burrow in Seattle.
Right, so if you're saying Jake Browning is so good, here's another thing flaw with your theory.
Well, I'm not saying Jake Browning he's that good.
Why wouldn't the Seahawks go after Browning then if they know, you know, what he's capable of? If you're saying he could be that could take the Bengals to the Super Bowl, why wouldn't he be able to take the Seahawks to the Super Bowl?
This is true.
Like I said, I think Brown's going to be on a very good team next year. I think he's going to sign with the Patriots or a team like the Seahawks or maybe like the Giants or something.
But hypothetically, what if we have a Nick Foles situation on our hands here, where the starter gets hurt around week 12, week 13, something like that, and the backup comes in? What if the Bengals win the Super Bowl this year? Then what do you say? What do you do? If the Bengals were to win the Super Bowl this year...
Carson, you can't compare Carson and Joe Burrow.
I'm not necessarily comparing them. I'm just saying hypothetically.
I see where you're going.
If the Bengals were to win the Super Bowl next year... Do you say, oh, well, we're just going to, we're going to let Browning walk?
We'll see. We'll worry about that. How about we win the Super Bowl first, and then we'll figure it out from there. Fair. I'm just saying, hey, you never know. In the NFL, the AFC's kind of, you don't know. Jacksonville's a little The Ravens, you never know with Lamar. The Chiefs don't look that great. No. This could be a year you see a team from the wild card round. That's why I'm saying don't count out the Steelers. No matter how bad their offense is, don't count them out, man, because if they limit you to if they limit you to 10 points, that's you're an NFL team, you should score 10 points regardless. All right, one more question. We have under a minute here.
Yeah.
Braeden, so who has a higher chance of making the playoffs, the Bengals or the Packers?
Definitely the Green Bay Packers, because the schedule is easier and they're in a better position like health-wise. Like they're getting healthier, right? The thing with the Bengals is, like, if Joe Burrow was healthy, it'd be like a toss-up, right? But with Browning, you don't know what you're getting. That's why we're saying this is all for fun, hypothetical.
And their schedule's tougher. AFC's overall tougher.
Yeah, you gotta play the Chiefs, you gotta play the Steelers, you gotta play Cleveland. Like, those are, you could lose all those games, but you could also go and win 2 out of 3 of those probably. So